grandmother and my mother throughout the years. This quilt is one of them. Gran, which is Orpha Christina Blair Rutledge, is visiting with us. My mother, Ivis Dolores Rutledge Seipel, is now living with us, and this is for future reference for the kids. This quilt is one piece. I can say that this bed here is a piece that I found at an auction and paid $35 for it. It was painted. I stripped it. This would have been when Susan was probably around 12 years of age, was her bed for quite some time. Let me zoom in here. Got Gran's slippers here where she's staying. One moment, please. Okay. This bowl here is over 100 years old. Mother will have to tell me the history on it. The picture she made in ceramics in the 70s to match it, and did a beautiful job of it. This little washstand my father made in the 80s. Okay, let me see if there's anything else in this room. This is an antique piece, set, dresser and chest that I picked up. Or I didn't pick it up, I take it back. It was given to me. My Aunt Fern died, which is Granny's sister, several years ago. And I thought it matched my bed very well. This cedar chest here came from my grandmother Seipel's, and I would suppose that it's well over 50 years old. I don't know the exact age. I'll remove Rand's rug there. Susan has one that's very similar to this that Gran and Poppy bought her for her, I think it was her 6th birthday, and I, of course, don't have it here. It's at Susan's home, but someday I may get that on tape. Looks like it started to snow again. Flannel backing on this quilt. We'll get the history to it. This chest of drawers was P.D. Hazelbaker's grandfather, and it will someday return to him. If anything happens to me, one of my kids will know to do that. to give to at least his kids. This hat rack came from my mom and dad. This little rocker here Dan picked up from a fella from work just a few days ago, as a matter of fact. Makes a nice little chair. This little lady's rocker, as you can see. And this dress chest of drawers was from my grandmother's cycle. There's a oak dresser with, boy, everything's a mess. This isn't a good day to tape. And a little washstand that matches grandmother's. And this little chair here is another chair that Dan picked up at the same time he picked up the ladies' rocker. We have no history of it. It's another little table and a quilt rack that my dad made. These are quilts that my mother has made. It's a bow tie. Dresden plate. And a flower garden. I do believe that's a pattern. I swear to it. Alright, Gran, I'll start with you because I taped in there the fan quilt that's on your bed that you're sleeping in. I'd like to know when you made that.
When I made it. I remember when I was working on it, but I don't know. It was when Georgia Kinney lived next door to me there. Must have been, and she was living there during the flood, so I'd say 37.
Okay. And what about, is there any history to it, or is it just one of many quilts you...
About what?
Is there any history to it, or is it just one of many quilts that you made?
One of many quilts.
I can't hear her. She's still talking loud enough.
There wasn't any history to it. You just made the quilt.
Okay, now what about the history of the wool quilt that's on our bed that Dan now owns?
You mean the trip around the world? Or what's on your bed in there?
Yeah, the wool quilt that came from men's suits.
You wouldn't want me to say who gave it. Just say a friend donated the material.
Oh, you can say who gave it. I want to know. This is only for me. I'm not going to go and publish this or anything.
Well, Gerald Stilton gave me the material. He sold suits for some company, and a railroader. He sold them to the railroad, C&O men. That's where he made most of his money. And my next door neighbor, Miss Willis, sewed the pieces together and quilted it, and then we divided them half and half. She took half of them and gave me half. And I give all my kids one of them.
Okay, when was that?
When was that? I would say that was about, we moved from there in 43, about 40.
Okay, now I have your dresser and washstand that's in your room. How did you acquire that?
The dresser and the washstand.
Yeah, the oak dresser and washstand.
Those oak pieces.
Yes.
Didn't you have them before I did?
You gave them to me. But they came from you, and I was wondering how you acquired them. Do you remember?
I probably bought them at the antique shop over in Russell.
Okay. Now, what about the antique pit or bowl that you have, the green and white and
Green
black.
bowl, I don't know where I got it.
Well, I give it to you. That green bowl, you know
The
what
green
Teresa
and
got?
white one
I got that in Michigan when I was in Michigan.
in Michigan.
And give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old is it?
Well, we went to Michigan before your dad died. He died in 67. I'd say that was the last trip we made. I would say probably in 65.
But was it new then, or was it an antique? Isn't it
No,
old?
It was an antique then. I
Okay.
bought it in Michigan at somewhat neighbor of Jude's that had that, and I think I give her, I don't know, a quarter or something for it. She didn't know what she was talking about. He was talking about antiques. If I'd have stayed longer, I could have got a lot more things. Because she had a lot of stuff. She had furnished rooms, and they's full of antiques, and she'd have let me have all she had if I'd have stayed. She didn't want them.
Do you know how old that piece is?
I have no idea. Like I had that fish plate that Ivis has got, a big fish pattern.
Yeah,
Got a big fish in the center of the.
Les
I
has it
gave
now.
a quarter for that. That's worth about $50 an hour,
No,
maybe
it isn't
100.
because it's cracked.
Well, that don't hurt him.
Yes, it does.
Well, anyway, I had that, and I had a cup, a coffee cup. I don't know what become of that. I didn't get very many pieces there, but this woman had a lot of pieces. And I could have had if I'd have stayed and got them. But your dad didn't want to stay, and we would come on home.
Okay. Now the pie safe.
Well, I bought that pie safe in an antique sale in Russell. I don't know anything about the history.
Okay. You know about how old it is?
It came from a home over in Kentucky. Well, I would say it's probably 75 to 100 years old.
Okay. And the chairs that are in the living room, the two side chairs, kitchen chairs, whatever they are.
Those straight chairs?
Yeah, the straight back chairs.
Well, I bought those in an antique shop in Pomeroy. And when I got them home, Dad told me that they were identical to the dining room chairs that his mother and Dad had that had burned up in the fire when their house burned.
What year was that?
What's that you talking about?
Huh?
You talking about them dining room chairs I had?
No, the two I've got.
Oh, I see.
What year did they have a fire that?
The fire was well, I should know when that fire was because I was.
Well, you were born in 20.
That fire, but did the house burn early 30s, Mother?
No, it burned. It was still there. It was still there during the flood, wasn't it? Or not? No, it wasn't there then. The fire. When Lois was the Dayton Press Dole, that's where Lois and Press was married. The night they had that fire, Pat Rutledge was there, and Toad, and all of them had a party. Bazella was there, and all of them had a party. And I always figured that maybe somebody flipped a match in that under cupboard that was under the stairway where she kept her money and her canned fruit and everything. That's where the fire started, in there, in that closet. I did know how. I don't know why they questioned her. And they said the store, when it burned, somebody must have thrown a lit cigarette down beside of the store, and the dry dead weeds, and that's where it took fire there about 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when the store burned, but the store burned before the house burned. Or did the house burn first? Fern and me, I was a quilting the morning, and Fern's sitting there, and she said, "Orf, look out there, the store's not there." I said, "You must be kidding," and sure enough, the store had burned that night, and we didn't know it. Fern and me didn't know it. So, it was after the flood, 37 flood. Or no, it was before that. It was before the flood.
It was before the flood.
Yeah.
Because that was an empty lot during the flood. Even the garage, that big old garage is gone.
Okay.
I can't remember the year.
All right. So anyway, these chairs were like Poppy's was when he was growing up. Okay.
He said they were identical to his mom's dining room chairs.
Okay. So you don't really know how old these are.
No, I don't know the definite date.
Okay. All right. And what about the oak lamp table in there?
I got that over Russell too, I think.
You know about how old it is?
Well, I'd say it's 50, 60 years old.
Is that all? Looks like an old piece.
See, I don't know, Teresa.
Okay.
I don't have much help.
That's all right. I just wanted to know if you knew of anything. Okay, now what about the butter churn that's in the dining room in there? The butter churn?
Well, that butter churn, where did the churn come
That
from?
was mine.
Well, where did it come from?
Did you actually churn butter in it?
Sure. Made pounds of it. Churned it and made pounds of butter. I don't remember, unless the bottle knew. I had a churn dash that Lou Ball gave me the lid that went on that churn. I don't know whether you still got it or not.
Yeah, it's around here, it doesn't fit.
Well,
Hi,
Lou
Daniel.
Ball gave me that. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, grannies.
And a churn dash, somebody gave me that, and I forget who gave me the churn dash. That was the dash that you churned with,
Mm-hmm.
made the butter. But I don't remember who gave it, but I do know that Lou Ball gave me the top for the churn. But I don't know who gave me, or if I had to buy the churn, I don't know where I got it.
How old is it? Do you know?
Pardon?
How old is the butter churn?
Well, I'd say it's 75 years old anyway. And that big 5-gallon jar there was mine. That's what I made
Oh, okay, the
sauerkraut
crock.
and pickle beans in.
Okay, well, hold on just a minute. Dan, can you push that around here so I can get that? I didn't get it. The butter, the crock there in the corner with potatoes in it.
Yeah.
Just pull it out here so I can. There it is.
I'll wait for me to go through. Hang on, I
I'm getting it right now. Okay.
Oh, look at you.
Now, you used to make sauerkraut in that.
Some pickled beans.
Pickled beans.
Yes, had pickled beans. I made pickled beans one time in the churn.
Butter churn?
Dodie, what was her name? Used to come up there all the time. She made a jar of pickled beans and put hot peppers in them. It's the best things ever was. I never did learn how to make them.
Who's
Made them in
Dodie?
that big jar.
Okay, the bean pot.
Oh, that was Emma Drake's mother's teapot, bean pot. And she actually baked beans in that. That was black as a pot. I cleaned it and scarred of that. And Emma gave me that. That's been 60 years ago.
That she gave it to you.
She had it.
Okay, and how old do you estimate the pot to be?
Well, it's hard to say. It was her mother's. And Emma was about 70 when she died, but she gave me that before then. She also gave me the chair Sister Mame had. Mame broke up housekeeping, and that rocking chair Leslie Ann's got in her basement. I gave it to her. Emma gave me that rocker, and I gave it to Leslie. And she's got in her basement. And Emma's been dead 50 or 60 years. It's hard to remember all these dates and everything.
Yeah, I know. I have trouble
When
remembering.
we bought that dining room suit, that was then 300 years old. That was a woman that I bought that from. She and her son owned the governor's mansion over at Riverton, Kentucky. And he was a postmaster over there before he became one of the officials of the C&O Railroad. And that's where that furniture come from. That was handmade. There wasn't a nail in one of them chairs or nothing. It was all handmade and put together. It was really valuable. It was about 300 years old when I got it. Emma's grandmother had it. It was handmade.
Who has it now?
Your mother'd have to tell you that.
Leslie Ann's got it.
Have chairs and dining room chairs.
The table.
Yeah. You mean she's got my table?
Well, I don't know whether she's got the table there or not.
The chairs? Who's got the chairs?
Well, I had a couple of them. Had those bars across the back.
No, they didn't have anything like that. It was hand carved. Them little pieces that was across the back was hand carved. Cut out.
Yeah.
There wasn't a nail in that. It was all put together with wooden pegs. It was under 300 years old when I got it. That's where it came from, the governor's mansion there at Riverton, Kentucky. And it was, Daisy Crawford. She was 80 years old when I bought that, or she told me she was. Daisy Crawford. That's what her name was. That's who I bought that from. For $8.
What are you talking about that you spent $8 on now?
Pardon?
What cost $8?
Those chairs, $8.
Okay.
But they was worth, I was offered $35 a piece for them 10 years before they sold. They was worth a lot of money. Well, at least $100 a piece. They were hand carved and handmade, put together with wooden pegs. Wasn't a nail in it.
I had two of them. I had two of the chairs. Trying to think where they are now.
Oh,
Going somewhere?
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to stop for a while and have some supper.
Mm-hmm.